Hi. Thank you so much to Research Data Scotland for inviting us along to this showcase event and also for providing funding for us to get the Why Big Data Matters schools resource to the next level and to reach more schools across Scotland. I'm Sarah Robertson and I'm a youth engagement lead with the University of Edinburgh. And this resource was developed in partnership with SHINE, which is the Schools Health and Wellbeing Improvement Research Network. So why did we just develop the resource in the first place? Well, young people are often underrepresented in longitudinal health research, and we recognise that there was a gap in the school curriculum across Scotland, which could help raise awareness about health research and address data concerns. Data literacy is an increasingly important skill for young people, in fact, actually for everybody, as data enters all of the aspects of our lives. We hope that by empowering young people with knowledge and understanding about health research, that they'd be more confident and motivated to consider joining, and also that so their voices and their experience was represented. So we worked with Shine and developed 3 lesson plans, each of which were about 45 minutes based on the school timetables, and each were aimed at educating students about health data and also the importance of participating in research and why we needed so many different young people across the whole of Scotland as well. So, Generation Scotland, we are the largest family health study in Scotland, and it was set up in 2006, so it's not new. But we have about 40,000 volunteers across the whole of Scotland, and basically the volunteers have helped with over 300 scientific papers, which have included things like mental health. We did a lot of work during COVID-19, chronic pain, diabetes, cancers, dementia, heart disease, and also asthma. There's a lot of other kind of conditions and other health that have been affected as well, and that have basically, there's a lot of research areas that have kind of sort of been supported through our volunteers. Until more recently, the study was only for those over the age of 18, and I was brought in to have a look at how do we engage and how do we ensure we're including voices of young people as well, so those aged 12 to 18. And from speaking to a lot of young people, they simply weren't aware of what health research was. A lot were concerned about maybe some of the ethics around it as well. They didn't know kind of how their data was going to be used and kind of things like data linkage. There seemed to be quite a big sort of gap in knowledge. So young people, as with a lot of adults as well, you wouldn't want to join something if you had quite a lot of concerns about it. So we wanted to make sure that young people were able to have an informed choice. And in order to do that, as I say, we had to kind of work with schools, work with youth organisations and others to raise awareness about what it was that they were joining. So Shine, as I mentioned before, Shine is a large network which is basically hosted in the University of Glasgow, and has members across, from schools and primary schools and from high schools across the whole of Scotland. They run an annual conference, but they also do a lot of kind of health research webinars. They've developed a lot of health and wellbeing resources for schools as well. And they were really knowledgeable about how we could work with schools and kind of thinking about the school curriculum and a lot of the language that was used in schools as well, in terms of making sure that what we developed would be fit for purpose and it would be something that schools would be able to benefit from and it would be like usable as well. We didn't want something that was going to sit on a shelf. We wanted it to be something that young people and teachers would like to use. And so they were really knowledgeable about that space. So the importance of our lesson plan. So as well as the data literacy, we also wanted to make sure that thinking about kind of citizen science, that people with different backgrounds and experiences were represented, and also that that their voices were included within the design of the next stages. We wanted to make sure that young people were empowered to lead healthy lives, and that if they had more of that knowledge and understanding about health research, then they would also be more confident and motivated to potentially participate in kind of future health research opportunities, whether it was, through Generation Scotland or whether it was through other health research as well. So the lesson plan, as I mentioned before, was into 3 different stages. So the first lesson was around what is big data. With that, we wanted to explain how data is used at the moment and how it does actually help society. We also wanted them to see as well why it was important then that we have lots of different people involved. We had some different kind of interactive activities as well. So we did like a discussion around kind of sort of being left-handed or not, and kind of sort of, how many people have each and why we have kind of different things in place for that. Um, we also did so the second lesson was around data linkage. With that as well, we wanted to think about kind of data sets, and kind of how data linkage is used, thinking about kind of the sort of the pros and the cons as well. And how we can like sort of de-anonymize things as well. So we had quite a fun activity with that, which was about a zombie outbreaks, using data linkage, which you can see at the side here as well, which looked at kind of sort of if you took each factor and how you actually needed all the different parts before you can build up that bigger picture. So it was kind of thinking about that de-identification aspect. The third lesson was around data ethics, and for that we were talking about what data ethics procedures are, how they're used in health research, and how data ethics also can help ensure that data is properly protected. Again, there's been discussions on there's a discussion that teachers can take forward about sensitive data and using that. The resource pack itself had a variety of different kind of aspects to it as well, different layers. So we had PowerPoints, which you can see the example at the bottom here. So like the slides and things as well that would accompany it. We had a resource pack as well, which they could work their way through, and see it kind of sort of basically written out completely like what they would, what each part was in relation to. There was some additional kind of discussion points and things they can use, and then the activities too. We had make sure that we had the answers in place, the activity descriptors, and also that there was a printout of the different worksheets there. The resource was sent to over 50 schools prior to engaging with Data Research Scotland. We'd went through the Shine newsletter, Strontium, and we worked with the Data and Schools team at the University of Edinburgh. The uptake was quite large, so we had 22 out of the 32 local authorities were interested in taking it forward and testing it and piloting it. I'm going to just get time to share this video, hopefully.
Data is a word used to describe information that is used in research for analysis. The data can be in such as height or age, or in words giving an opinion. In research, it is often not enough to collect data from just a few people to come to a conclusion. We need lots and lots of data so that we can make sure the information we receive is representative of what we are interested in learning more about. Big data refers to extremely large data sets which are analysed by computers to reveal patterns and trends that wouldn't be possible manually. In health research, it is used to look for similarities or differences between people and those with medical conditions, and try to understand why some people are more prone to illness than others, or who needs early intervention to protect them from future illness. This can include patient data such as blood or tissue samples, lifestyle data, imaging data like x-rays or brain scans, genetic data, your DNA, and data from health and fitness devices. As an example, researchers at Generation Scotland supported the Recovery Trial, a UK-wide study to find treatments for COVID-19. One aspect of the trial compared the genetic data of COVID patients who required intensive care to the data of healthy people. The researchers identified 5 key genetic differences between the healthy people and the people in intensive care, which led to identifying an effective COVID-19 drug treatment. One of the differences was in a gene which is inflammation, and so a drug that is usually used to treat a type of arthritis was repurposed to treat severe cases of COVID-19 with anti-inflammatory properties. This could be used to treat people straight away because it was already known to be a safe treatment, whereas trialling new drugs can take up to 10 years.
Yeah, so that gives you a wee example of some of the different infographics and videos. This one was created by the wonderful Joni, who's in the Generation Scotland team and multi-talented. And so, yeah, in terms of kind of implementation, we what we didn't have was some of the guidance. So the funding that we got from Research Data Scotland allowed us to actually pilot and test this in different schools. We were able to see some of the gaps that we had. We looked for things like the accessibility as well, making sure that the language and the time length and the structure all fitted quite well with the school curriculum. Um, we also were able to reach more schools. So we did a bit more, I suppose, marketing, if you like, and kind of sort of comms around the resource. We were able to provide £100 per school for more feedback and also for their suggestions as well. So there's a little bit of an extra hook for them. We were able to get the resource making it looking a little bit nicer as well. So we employed the help of a graphic designer. And we also, based on the young people's feedback suggestions, we were able to create professional videos. So young people were saying that they would like to see some of us, like the people that were behind the resource, in the videos as well. And teachers were also saying that that could then be used for careers purposes too, so that they could see the different roles within kind of the universities and within Generation Scotland team. So we were able to put all of these things in place and have a nicely more like sort of polished resource by the end as well. So yeah, the funding has been really, really invaluable to help us get to that next stage. We're really happy with the resource as well now, and it can be accessed via the Generation Scotland website. So if you look online for Generation Scotland, University of Edinburgh, you should be able to access it there. If not, then please do drop the team an email and we can make sure that we can send it through to anybody that is interested. And thank you so much for listening. A big shout out to the Generation Scotland team and the Shine team as well. And some of our colleagues at the University of Edinburgh, especially big shout out to Research Data Scotland, and particular named people. So Hannah Milburn, who helped design the whole resource, and Anne as well at Generation Scotland. Robin and Heather have been absolutely incredible. Fiona, and yeah, so many more. So thank you so much. Take care.